Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I think for the time I've been doing my analysis, I've always resisted the temptation to say William Ruto is lying. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me today to say William Samoei Arap Ruto is lying about the education funding, the higher education funding model. I have been following that town hall meeting, and I want us to be very objective on this. And let's look between the lips of the president. You will understand the president is lying. Before we look at that, kindly, kwanza wacha tusaidie hawa mama kwanza. Yeah, I'm in Kilifi. I've been following this in Kilifi, and for this week we are supporting these 15 elderly women in Magarini. That is why I am in Kilifi. Magarini is in Kilifi, North Coast, and we are running this. So kindly, if usisema kwamba ni kidogo, na someone told me, oh Kevin, 50 bob, 100, will we manage? By the way, let me just calculate. If 200 of us can send 100, would be at 200,000. We shall have achieved it by the day. And tujaribu tu pole pole. I already have 27,340. I believe that is what I have since I started yesterday. The target is 150, way far, but I believe we can still achieve it. So kesho tutakuwa tunaanza kujenga nyumba ya kwanza, kuhakikisha kwamba tunaweza kuitengeneza from tomorrow. So kindly just send any, if you get 100, 500, whatever you can get, it will help us achieve this. The number is down there, both the M-Pesa and the bank account. And thank you very much for acting on this. I want you to listen to this gentleman. Just listen to his question.
People here, yes. Who? Okay, somebody in front.
I want first to acknowledge your presence as the 5th President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. My beautiful name that my father gave me is Kisero Junior Kennedy Otieno. I'm the Secretary General of Kenya Methodist University. And I have a few things to put across, Your Excellency. First, when I entered this hall, I like checking where I am. I saw from whatever is written here, hashtag, fee has fallen. Your Excellency, the fee has not fallen, that's why we are here. So, and first thing first, Mr. President, I've been privileged to be under your administration in two capacities. One, I enjoyed your administration when you were an MP in Eldoret North.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, we used to learn hapo Kamagut hapo chini karibu na kwenu. Yes. And secondly, I've also experienced your leadership now that you are the president. Mr. President, I can assure you they are totally different. From when you were MP, people used to go to the street to celebrate your achievements. Nowadays, we just go to the streets to demonstrate. And Mr. President, don't get me wrong in the first place. The reason is why I know when you are the president, it comes with a lot of responsibility and people to advise. And I will start off by saying those who are advised in this new funding model, I will not be wrong to say there is a problem. And that's why we are here. We have to go back to the drawing board. We have to start off afresh. And my question is, Mr. President, the first question is, what was so wrong with the old funding model that we could not sit down and amend it? Because even a constitution of a country, you just don't wake up one day and bring a new constitution. We always go and say, hii clause imetufinya kidogo kama wananchi. We go to the parliament, they amend it, and they take it to the president to ascend and sign it. So I feel we should go back to the old funding model and amend it. Because, Mr. President, we don't lack stakeholders, we don't lack resources. These people sitting here, watu wanafanya law, nursing, medicine, there are brains here which can sit down in those panel and say, where did we go wrong? First, I want to acknowledge that the new funding model has got good ideas, very brilliant ideas, but the implementation is very wrong, and it's not pleasing based on the fact that there are also challenges from the help. You know, when comrades sit in the same room with the help guys, it's a miracle. But we are very happy to sit down with them and discuss in your presence. Mr. President, I want to also talk about, I come from KEMU, which is a private university. And my question there is in, you have spoken, I've understood what you have said in regards to scholarship and the loans. Comrades, you know, kama SG wendio mtu wa mkono. I have my president here, Masai Chebet. You know, comrades come to you and tell you, Kisero, we have been placed in this band. And people are really suffering, Mr. President. And my question is, why then do COOPs have to place them in private university if they can't be sustained the same way as those in public university? And in that regard, Mr. President, I acknowledge that you have said the government, this is my chance with the Mr. President. You have acknowledged that the government said it has debts, and my university is one that is in the same category. Tunadai the government. They have been so lenient enough to allow students to learn with the limited resources they have. Tunaomba tu hata kidogo ndio university iendelee kufanya kazi, because we need to learn, those who we are there in KEMU. Then, Mr. President, recently you were awarded a beautiful degree at Baraton University, if I'm not wrong. Honorary degree at Baraton University. And there was one picture that really took my attention. I know most of you saw the picture. There was a little girl called Naomi who was in the midst of graduates, and he was there admiring all the graduates, the beautiful gown. Then I asked myself, why does this new funding model want to kill the dream of that young girl of one day graduating? I want to say this, Mr. President. As the commander, I first started by saying I acknowledge your president as your presence as the 5th president and the commander-in-chief of our defense forces. And one of your roles in that regard is to act. Please act, Mr. President. We beg you. Please act. Then lastly, namalizia kabisa. Lastly, Mr. President, we don't have to go to the street when we can resolve this thing here today. Ama namna gani wangwana? Yes. Because we also don't like going to the streets when we can solve things at the table. We are ready to be part of the discussion. We are ready to listen. We are ready to work and ensure that we change this. But the bottom line remains, let's go to the old funding model, amend it to what you wanted to achieve with the new funding model. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Okay. Which way? We are finished with here? Let's go here now. I think we are making one round. We started there, we came here, we came there. Okay, so where? Maybe in front here, or somewhere, yeah. Okay. Your name, please.
Asante sana mtukufu rais. Jina langu ni Brian Waka kutoka chuo kikuu cha Rongo. Tunapokusanyika hapa siku ya leo kwa ajili ya kuzungumzia masomo katika vyuo vikuu, mtukufu rais, hatuwezi soma pasipokuwa na usalama. Tungeomba utupe usalama sisi wanafunzi katika vyuo vikuu. Aghalabu katika kila chuo kikuu tuwe na police bases ambazo zitatusaidia, kwa sababu comrades wanapenda kuona mpira usiku na wangependa wapate usalama. Jambo la pili, Bwana Rais, nitazungumzia uongozi wa wanafunzi katika vyuo vikuu. We need a student body, an active student body that will fight for our priorities and our grievances.
He made a passionate appeal. Mr. President, why don't we go just to the original funding model? Let me tell you, for the 1 hour that I was watching, the organizers of that forum, the first batch, immediately the president came, it started by first explaining what that funding model is all about. Then from that, they gave the microphones to some selected students whom I tend to believe that the organizers had already planned, because they were giving to student leaders who were asking some pertinent questions on loan interest, expanding the repayment period, something on the effect of the loan and the fact that some students from private universities are not getting it. Now that gentleman that took that microphone had to crash that program. By the way, hakuwa amepangwa kuuliza maswali. And that is why you can see, akiuliza maswali, the coordinator, the person who was managing the floor was becoming more restless and was actually telling him to make sure kwamba amemaliza. Now let us just have this discussion. The new funding model has been broken down into different bands. This bands is band 1 to band 5. So I want to explain what the president have said. Kwamba by the time he got to power in 2022, universities were struggling with some pending bills. Why? The universities were struggling with pending bills because they were receiving students, but a huge number that they're not able to manage. So what they did, because universities was running under budget, wanapata wanafunzi wengi, lakini hela ambao wanapewa ama ile mapato ya shule haitoshi. So the funding model is believed to be the one to cure that. And the president had to make a pitch saying that there is some vice chancellors that told him that that model is working. Now I want to debunk that, and let me explain. I want to explain it by case. When I was doing communication and mass communication and journalism in Masai Mara University, watu ambao walisoma Masai Mara and watch this video know that. And I remember it used to cut across most of the courses there. We used to pay 22,000. That one I used to pay from my pocket. So when I was in college, nilikuwa naitwa Kevo mayai. This doesn't change anything I can say. Nilikuwa naitwa Kevo mayai because I used to sell mayai to sort my school fees. Yes. And I am so proud of it. So I could pay 22,000 from my pocket. Then there was 8,000 that was from ile loan ya help. It used to come, and 8,000 goes to school direct. Then the government sends its capitation. So it used to be a flat rate of 22,000. So let me ask you, what used to happen here is, well, about London University, if you went to Kenyan University, there is that nominal roll. You could not sign the nominal roll if you've not paid your share, which is supposed to be around 30,000. Remember, ile 8,000 ya help na 22,000 yako. Now, you had that your 22,000 lazima ungekuwa umelipa for you to qualify to sign nominal roll. In fact, if help haijatuma ile 8,000 yao, you had to be asked to pay that 8,000 so that help ikikuja, it will be taken to the next semester. If I am lying, someone can help me there. Now, what does it mean? There is a narrative, there is this story that has been explained that universities were working underfunded. The students have been there. Yes, students were struggling to pay, but at least haungefanya mtihani kama haujalipa ile shilingi 22,000. Now, one thing that the reason why I'm saying that the old funding model is what affected the university is a lie. Why? It is a lie because it is the government that was delaying in paying the disbursements. Ile capitation yenye shule ilikuwa inapatia, yenye government ilikuwa inapatia shule, that capitation used to delay. So it is what was making the universities to have huge pending bills. Because kama ni ile help student akipata alikuwa analipa. Ile yenye tulikuwa like it was 22,000. At least you could not do exams. In fact, now if you don't do exams, you've been to school, it means you leave and you cannot even start next semester. So it is not really true that what was causing debts in the universities is the old funding model. There is no problem with either of the two models. Whether we go the old model or the new model, but government continues, even kwa hii model mpya, if they continue to delay sending their capitation, we will still be back to pending bills. If you ask me, it has not sorted that question of, because why is it that public universities are not struggling or private universities are not struggling? The private universities are not struggling because pale unalipa fees yote. I used to understand that probably government used to pay for us around 80,000 or 70,000 or so. So if that money is not, just like the way counties are struggling now, they will say high school and the colleges are struggling now. It is not true that that money is going to be used, is the one that was causing very huge pending bills in universities. That's number one. Number two, William Ruto have done the banding and kuna kaukora kwa hiyo banding. Wacha leo nitumie Kiswahili kidogo. Kwa hiyo banding kuna ukora fulani. Yes, it is batch 1, band 1 to band 5. Now, the highest band, or band 5, ni wale wadosi. Those parents earning above 70,000. Band 4, if your parent is earning between 25 to, probably between 25 to 70,000. Then band 3 is, I think somewhere between 6,000 to 25. Then the band 1 is total orphan, vulnerable, disability, all that. Band 2 is your parent is earning around 6,000. There is, and the president has spoken about the fact that it is making education cheaper or rather convenient. They're talking about convenience, that yule ambao anaweza lipa. But let me ask you, if a medical course would be costing probably around 600,000. Then you are put in band 4, where there is an understanding that your father, that you're supposed to pay 30% of that. What is 30%? What is 35% of 600,000? With all other requirements. So let me tell you, the band, there are two tricks in it. The fees is hiked, is increased. So even if you're paying 30%, there is a difference of paying 30% of 100,000 to paying 30% of 1 million. So you realize that to that extent, it is not way cheaper. The second thing, the president is talking about 12% falling in band 1, between 0 to, between people who are vulnerable, disability, blah, blah, all that. 12%. But I think looking at the poverty index, raw observation from the universities, wale wanafunzi wanaenda university, let me tell you, wale wanafunzi wanaenda university, the public universities, wenye napita, many of them fall within that bracket ya wasiojiweza. So in the wrong banding, it is the trick where someone looks at assessment and says, your father is a primary teacher, earning probably some 35,000 or 30,000. You're supposed to in band 3. And it is not really effective on how it is done. Because to the best of my knowledge, if you look at how the government has been running it, it has had its own issues on how you do band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4, and band 5. The second other issue, or the other third issue I want to raise is on the president talking about tools to gauge. KRA, those parents in social protection, those are almost over 60s, or they're trying to look at the other, the other barometers of measuring which band you belong to. I'm saying that place is lying because I can be earning some 35,000, but the Kenya have a high dependency ratio. A good example, if you happen to you're earning some money in a family, that one payroll is paying fees for primary school kid, secondary school, mtoto wa nephew, your parent, yourself, your children, and then probably your brother is in the university. It is not really effective. And I agree with what that young man is saying. Instead of, coming up with that pseudo, with that new model, can you just go to it is very disruptive. This new one is very disruptive. Can you just go to the other one and explain how this is helping? How this is helping to bridge the gap? Because it's supposed to help two things. Number one, the president have said that with that, the problem with the loan is not that people don't want to pay the loan. The problem with the issue of repayment and defaulting is because of no jobs. That's it. People are not paying because they are graduating, but they don't have jobs. I graduated in 2017. Quite a number of my classmates, are struggling. So you cannot say that it's like we just want to loan. The loan cannot be revolving money if people are not getting income to pay it. So I think on that extent of saying this model is going to fix and this model is going to help, that model is not working. In fact, I agree with that student who is saying that because the funding model is just like SHIF and NHIF. People have been asking, why don't you just make SHIF, make NHIF work instead of moving it from point A to point B? If you ask me, there was every reason, there is some lifting in it. Now, President is saying that the banding used to happen, it started 1996. So, I used to be, my cube mate, we used to have Titus Fatuna, General Science. We used to have our CK, was doing economics. We used to have we used to have Wahome was doing a science course. And we have Edwin Mwenga, who is doing applied statistics. All of us were paying that 22,000 as fees, alafu ile 8,000 yenye HELB inatoa. So HELB is where there was banding, because on HELB, the banding was on the loan. Because kama when you total orphan, you'll get more. But if you're not a total orphan, if you used to have, like for me, I used to get, I think, around 26. Those who are total orphans were getting around 52,000. So that is what the banding was. But initially, even if it was there, why was it not in the picture? It is not very true that the banding had been applied. What the president is struggling to do is now to try to debunk the fact that this is not a new thing. This is something that has been there. And if I want to confirm to you that the problem is not the model A or model B, the problem is government failing to disburse money, it is good you listen to what that gentleman was saying. Akatetea university, mtolee hata kidogo so that tuendelee. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my take, and I can also read your feedback and kindly support our project that we are doing in Kilifi today. Any amount will go into supporting this, and we will be very grateful. If you ask me, Ruto is lying. I'm back tomorrow. I will do a comprehensive analysis on this model. I want to get some chancellors, some lecturer, and probably a student, and get maybe an admin. If you work in a university in administration, just get to my inbox. Let's have a chat. Tell us what is it from the university perspective and from the student's perspective. Because Ruto seems to be selling it. And even the way he was making his speech, he was selling that this is the best thing that have happened. It has helped universities now not to have pending bills. I don't think it is what has helped. In fact, kama government inasema kwamba itasaidia ili watoe hela kidogo, anatoa 5,000, basi serikali anatoa ile yake, then the government should just do their part of the bargain. That is what they should do. In fact, I've always been saying, what the problem in this country is an income problem. Kama watu wako na pesa, watachukua watoto, wapeleke TVET, wapeleke private universities. But so long as we still have the same poverty level, the most affordable is public universities, and government will now have to fund. That's my take.